Hello and welcome to the 2018 Meet the Candidates, a voter education program sponsored by the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. Today, I'm joined with Arvid Sornberger, who's running for local city council. Arvid, thanks for being here today.
Elliot, thank you.
Well, why don't we start by having you give us a little intro about yourself and why you chose to run for city council.
Thank you. Well, again, as you said, I'm Arvid Sornberger. I've been a resident of Shakopee for 31 years plus. We have 3 adult children that all graduated from the Shakopee schools, and we're proud of that. And one of the things that I would like to say is when I was a former CD2 chair for a political party, I would take a look at candidates that wanted to be endorsed, and I asked them one question. What have you done for your community other than get mad at the current incumbents that we should endorse you for? And those that came back with not much did not get the endorsement. So I had to ask myself that exact same question as I set out to run for city council. And in that, I have a background as a park and chair member. I was the chair for 3 years, a member for 6 years. I served on the Scott County Planning Commission, Scott County Human Advisory Board. I was on the Shakopee Education Advisory Board. And we also served Special Olympians in the area with Special Olympics.
Great. Well, the first question today we'll be asking is, investors are pulling out of projects in our community citing an instability and unpredictability with city politics. How do we restore predictability and stability so that investors feel confident putting their money in projects here in Shakopee?
Well, thank you. And I think the first thing to do is, as leaders, is to listen to what and understand, not just listen, but to understand what developers want, need, and are looking for. And in that, there's usually 5 major components done from studies across the country that developers look for. Ironically, the top 2 are visionary leadership and the city's status or its reputation. And I think that when developers see that getting tarnished or not being as guided as effectively as it could, they start to look elsewhere. We not only don't get that development, we then lose it to surrounding communities and competitors.
The next question, define tax increment financing for our audience and our voters.
That's interesting, and I've been asked that out in the public, and the question I'm getting is people are, as an example, asking for the time of day, and we as politicians are telling them the history of watchmaking. So the real question is, what depth of understanding do I have of tax increment financing? Watch taxes that have been set aside futuristically to put into developments now, and there's a but-for clause that if we didn't have that tool in place, those developments would leave, which then also ties into the economic side of why developers go. So the real question is the leadership wanting to manage those that we've hired with extreme amount of skills and talent to bring it before us, then we as leaders can then decide to move forward with that as a tool. There are other tools to use as well.
So the follow-up to that question then would be our next one, which is, when does tax increment financing work?
Well, since 1970 in Shakopee, RAR, Seagate, and a number of others that others can talk about, but it's been used effectively there. Is it the only tool? No. Can it be administered? Yes. But again, it's a tool. And what I'm finding a lot, Elliot, is it's a tool much like a car. And as leaders, we take and look at, we want, let's say as a family go on a vacation, we get all set, we got a destination to go to, we walk out and the whole family gets into an argument because the car is not a Ford, it's a Chevy. And we start to get tied up in things that are not going to take us to where we need to be.
The next question. As the Shakopee Chamber of Commerce, we are unapologetically pro-Shakopee and pro-business. How is your agenda pro-business, and how does that differ from your opponents?
Well, my agenda is pro-business because I am a business person. I've owned businesses, a medical glove, a distribution company. I've done management and sales training. I've also worked with corporations. As for my opponents, I don't know their background that well. But the depth of understanding that I can bring to the council is based off that experience.
Great. The next question. What cities do you think are doing a good job, and what lessons can be learned from them?
I think the 2 cities that I'm really impressed with, the first is Duluth, Minnesota. It has been using TIFs as an example from the previous questions since 70s. They navigated through the worst crisis we had in 2008 and to come out on the other side with a 2.3 tax base on TIFs. Yet you look at it, and it's a moving town. It's now a town of destination. It's brought in massive amount of money. It's no longer a pass-through city on your way to Canada. The second one, of course, there are those that say, yeah, Duluth, it's 3,000-4,000 people. The second city I look at and am impressed with, one that my wife and I visited a few months ago, is Wisconsin Dells. And they too have not only looked at TIF and used it effectively, but a number of other instruments to enhance that town. And they're a city of under 3,000 people, and they're doing a bang-up job. I'm sure a lot of people know where Wisconsin Dells are.
The final question, what has been your greatest learning opportunity in life to date?
My greatest learning opportunity is working with Special Olympics. As I mentioned earlier, we were given a distinguished award for serving that community, and they have been a group of people that have taught me more than I thought they would. You go ahead and think you're going to serve that in that capacity, and it reversed. And that has been just probably the highlight of my learning experience. And that's after said with a lot of business experience and education in psychology and business as well. I would put that at the top of it.
Well, there you go. Arvid, we thank you for your time, and thank you for watching the 2018 Meet the Candidates.